This is one of those questions that you are aware that you're dealing with the finest, most delicate china of a person's heart. Could be death of dreams, could be loss of a loved one, could be financial ruin that has no obvious, what's the benefit of this that has happened? It could be a, prime of life struck down with a deadly illness. It's fine china. It's delicate. It's fragile places and people. And so certainly just the fundamental tenderness of heart and commitment to walk beside someone and not just view it, I'm going to come up with a few things to say that are going to fix it. That's going to be the starting point. That said, it is wonderful and fascinating how frequently God recognizes this struggle we have and then speaks to what the purposes are, that there actually is a point, and many, many different directions. The famous ones, the book of Job. Neither Job nor his wife nor his friends know the real answer because none of them know the backstory of what bigger things are in play cosmically, you might say. And they're all wrong at one level. His friends are really wrong because they just try to moralize Job and blame him. And Job is wrong because though his faith is true, Job doesn't realize that there are bigger things going on. And God has a purpose of deepening his faith to the extent that Job says, it was as though before I had just heard about you, but now I know you. Or you think of how many Psalms portray the way that affliction presses us into immediate awareness of our weakness and vulnerability and makes us seek refuge in the one person who is strong and the one person who can protect us, the one person who can act and bring deliverance into our lives. You think of the way that 1 Peter opens with this question and talks about the way that suffering, it either washes out your faith as false or your faith becomes deeper, becomes true gold that's purified. James starts with the same topic. Romans, it breaks in at a couple points, Romans 5 and Romans 8. And again, interestingly, that in Romans, that suffering is the context in which we actually come to know the love of God. And we could go on, but that reality that there is a purpose and that those are purposes that we've pointed to are all ones that have this profound altering effect in who we are as people and how we face life. You might say then the ultimate purpose that is again, no timetable on this, but it's this payoff, is the way that Paul, in the beginning of 2 Corinthians, anchors our ability to help other people in the way that we process our own afflictions. So there is something about what I come to in dealing with my own afflictions that is the basis of an ability to comfort other people in whatever they are going through. It creates this convergence of seemingly paradoxical qualities that on the one hand, a deep sympathy with sufferers, and on the other hand, a clarity that is able to take people somewhere, help them go somewhere with it. So how do you combine having a sensitive heart and having somewhere you can take people? Typically, there are people who have a bleeding heart, and there's people who got a lot of advice. But to put those two together is just remarkable and something different from either of our natural human tendencies. So there is hope, and there's hope in the midst of someone's afflictions, even though they seem so bitter that there's no possible purpose. There is a place that it can go that is good.